A man with principles! My name is Paul Camelot. I'm 30 years old, and I've always thought of myself as a nice guy, or at least I thought I was. And now? Not so much. In fact, now I think I'm an asshole. Why the sudden change? A woman, of course. Not just any woman, but a fucking beautiful woman. 6'7", green eyes, red hair hanging down to the middle of her back, and a body of 91, 555, 891, 5. If Helen of Troy's face put 1,000 ships to sea, Angel's face would put 10,000 to sea. Angelina, Angel for short, was the wife of Thomas Deerfield, who was my chief competitor in the Zix Corporation. We started work on the same day, and from day one it seemed that we both always seemed to achieve the same promotions. I was the first, getting promoted to assistant manager in the quality control department. Soon after, he became assistant manager of purchasing. When the shipping and receiving manager position opened up, we both put ourselves forward and Tom got it. A year later, I got the quality control manager position. I knew his wife, Angel, from all of the company's social events, and to say I lusted after her would be an understatement. I truly believe that any man who even caught a glimpse of her on her worst day would want her. But whether he wanted to or not, Angel didn't seem to like to play around, and I wasn't the type to get involved with another man's woman. Then the day came when I was in the right place at the right time. I went to lunch with one of our vendors at Red Lobster, and after eating, we went our separate ways. Red Lobster was right across the street from the Red Roof Inn, and I looked that way as I walked to my car and saw Angelina Deerfield get out of the car with Amos Billings and head toward one of the rooms. I pulled out my phone and filmed them going into room 117. I moved the car to where I could keep surveillance of the room from and settled in to wait. When they came out 2 hours later, I was even lucky enough to capture their kiss. As they drove out of the parking lot, I went through what I had on my phone. What I had was dynamite. Billings was the vice president of operations at ZX, and the person who would be making the decision on who would get the regional manager position that Tom and I had applied for. From what I had just seen, it looked like Tom was going to be the new regional manager because I couldn't offer Billings anything that could beat Angel. I wondered what it was about the position that Tom was willing to offer Angel to get it. One thing I knew for sure was that my hands-off policy toward Angel was headed for the trash garbage can. I decided to strike while the iron was hot, so to speak. I knew that Angel worked from home, billing several doctors, dentists, and small local businesses. If she was already home from the hotel, I called her home number. Hello? Good afternoon, Angel. Paul Camelot here. How are you feeling on this fine day? I'm fine, Paul, but Tom's not here yet. I don't want to talk to Tom. I'm more interested in talking to you. Any chance you could get off and have dinner with me tonight? Are you out of your mind? What in God's name gave you the idea that you could call me and ask me that? I don't know if God had a hand in it, but if he didn't, fate put me in a position where I could see you and Amos Billings walking into room 117 of the Red Roof Inn. Are you on drugs? I've never been to the Red Roof Inn in my life. Well, as I'm talking to you, I'm watching a video taken with my phone, and I'm willing to bet everything I have that it's you kissing Amos after leaving room 117. But I will admit that I've made a mistake or two in my life. I think I need to get a second opinion. You wouldn't happen to have Billings' home phone number, would you? His wife doesn't work, and she should be home. I'll get her opinion on whether or not Amos is on the video. It doesn't matter. I'm sure he's in the phone book. Sorry to bother you. Have a good day. Before I could hang up, I heard it. Wait! What do you want? I already told you. Dinner tonight. What time and where? How about the Hilton Sixney? All right. I'll see you there. I was smiling when I hung up. I wouldn't get the regional manager job, but I was sure I'd get Angel. And of the two, I was sure I'd like Angel better than the regional manager job. I walked into the restaurant at the Hilton Hotel at 5 to 6 and found Angel already seated there. When I joined her, I said, "I hope I haven't kept you waiting long. I've only just arrived." Just then a waitress appeared and took our drink order, and when she left, Angel asked, "So what's all this about?" She wanted to get straight to the point, so I did. "It's very simple. You met with Billings to get Tom the regional manager job, which means you ruled me out. I decided I needed a consolation prize, and that was you." "You can't be serious." "Oh, but I am. You know what you have, Angel, and you know that every man who ever looked in your direction ended up with lustful thoughts of you. Like them, I've had those thoughts about you since I first saw you, but I'm a nice guy. Or was. So I buried those thoughts. Now everything's changed. You made love to Amos, which means you took away the job I wanted. I think it's only fair that since you took away my job, you should sleep with me to make it up to me." "You really are an asshole. What if I told you to fuck off and die?" "I'll go to the director of human resources, show him the video, and claim I was cheated out of a fair chance at a promotion. I assume Tom would lose his job as a result, and Amos would be fired or demoted. It wouldn't bother me if Tom got the job fair and square, but trying to steal it by using you just doesn't sit well with me. Tom doesn't know. I did it on my own. Do you love him that much? Are you willing to go that far for your man?" "I don't think so. I did it for me, not for Tom." "I don't understand." "Alimony is based on a spouse's salary. Tom gets a promotion and a raise. As soon as he starts working, I'm filing for divorce. I'm completely sick and tired of him cheating on me." "He's cheating on you?" "It doesn't even make sense. If you were mine, I'd chain you to the bed so you could never escape. Where the hell is he going to find something better than what he already has?" The waitress brought drinks and asked if we were ready to order, and Angel said, "Why bother? Just get a room so we can get this over with. I'll have the tenderloin, medium rare, mashed potatoes, and glazed carrots." Angel looked at me in disgust, then said, "I'll have the same." When the waitress left, Angel asked, "What the hell are you doing? Why didn't we just get a room and be done with it?" "Didn't I ask you to have dinner with me? We're having dinner." "Why? We both know why you brought me here. Why in a booth?" We both know what was on my mind when I sat down. But things change. Now I want to sit in it and bask in your beauty, cursing myself for not being the asshole I wanted to be. You're not making any sense. I know, but for a while, I can sit here and have you all to myself. I still don't see the point. Making love on a full stomach isn't that great. Well, if it's not fun, I guess I'll have to give it up. What you're saying doesn't make any sense. I know. One of my biggest flaws. I'm told the baked Alaska here is unparalleled. Could you explain to me what you're doing? I told you. I'm sitting here alone with you, basking in your beauty, and cursing myself for not being the asshole I wanted to be. Look, I'm barely out of high school, Paul, and I don't even have an hour of college. So maybe you can tell me in plain English what's going on here. Okay, let's be blunt. I came here to blackmail you into making love to me. I thought Tom was using you to get a promotion, so I figured since you two got me out of the promotion, I'd sleep with you behind Tom's back as payback. Then I found out Tom had nothing to do with it, so I couldn't be the asshole I was going to be. But I still took away your promotion. You have to realize that Tom and I have been rivals since the day we got hired at Zix. As long as it was between Tom and me, I could justify myself by saying I was going to get revenge. It was just between us. Now I know he's innocent, so I have no reason to seek retribution. You know? Sort of, but I'm here, and I was gonna do what you wanted me to do. I was mad at you for the way you set it up. I was mad at myself for giving in to you. And now you're going to give it up? Suddenly, my ego screamed, "How can this asshole walk away from this?" She pointed at herself. I know, and I'll probably cry tonight, that I missed my chance to get you. Sometimes it just sucks to be me. The food arrived, and we ate in silence. I asked her if she wanted to try the baked Alaska for dessert, and she said no. I paid the bill and walked her to her car, opened the door for her, and said, Good night, missus. Might as well be. And she surprised me. She took my head in both of her hands and kissed me so hard my knees went weak. Then she got into her car and drove off. I expected that to be the end of it, but of course it wasn't. 2 days later, I was called into Billings' office. He told me to sit down. Yesterday, I received a call saying that I might have a potential problem with you. I understand the call was from a woman named Angelina. Yes. I thought I'd put her at ease. You did, but she thought I might be the one in trouble. No, you didn't. I can't blame you for doing what I probably would have done if I were you. If something that sweet came my way, I'd probably bend over backwards to give her what she wants. She's something. No way in hell I could turn down what she wanted, given what she was offering. Relax, I already destroyed the video. I think you should know that Deerfield was going to get the job anyway, and that decision was made before Angelina came to me. I think I should be ashamed of myself for taking advantage of her. Frankly, you would have wasted the job. I gave it to Deerfield because I was saving you for something else. Matson is retiring in 2 months, and I've already signed you up as his replacement. That's a secret, by the way, so let's keep it just between you and me, okay? You got it. Tom got a promotion, and 6 weeks later, I was promoted to Matson's spot. Now you're asking yourself, what's wrong with this guy? 30 years old and single? The sad truth is that although I like the ladies, I don't trust them. My distrust started back in high school. I dated Brenda Stewart for 3 months before I asked her to be my girlfriend. She accepted, and 2 months later, dumped me for the quarterback of the soccer team. Linda Lewis was next. She dumped me for a guy whose father had just given him a Mustang convertible. Next on the hit parade, Helen Catron. We'd been dating for almost 6 months, and I thought we were solid. Her 18th birthday was the day after mine, and also the day of her senior prom. We followed an unspoken tradition. We exchanged cherries. A month later, she was in the arms of a guy who, up until that point, had been my best friend. Was it different in college? Carol Mays and Rachel Wallace freshman year? Marsha Loomis and Brianna Spencer my sophomore year, and Roberta Davis my 3rd year. All of them left me for someone else or cheated on me with someone else and got caught. The one that hurt me the most was Elizabeth Martin. We met on the first day of our senior year and immediately felt for each other. It was like lightning struck us, and we both realized we were made for each other. We were dating by the 2nd week of classes and were engaged to be married when spring break came around. Liz went to Panama City with her girlfriends, and I had to stay home due to family obligations. A week before prom, Liz came up to me and told me she was pregnant, and naturally, I told her we needed to hurry up and get married soon. Then she told me I wasn't the father. I turned and walked away and never spoke to her again. By the time I graduated from college with a degree in hand, I no longer trusted women of that species. My needs were taken care of by 2 girls who worked for an escort service. Given my background, it was easy for me to be the asshole I was going to be with Angelina Deerfield. 6 months after that night, I was still cursing myself for not accomplishing what I had planned to do. Not only that, but it had cost me. The fact that I was so close to getting Angel got me excited, and I started seeing my 2 escorts more often. It had been a little over 7 months since I'd moved to work for Matson's. It was about 4:30 on a Thursday when my secretary called me on the intercom and told me Ms. Parker wanted to see me. She's not on the appointment calendar, but she says it's very important for her to see you. Send her in. The door opened, and Angelina Deerfield came in and closed the door behind her. I stood up to greet her and said, "Miss Parker?" I took my maiden name when I divorced Tom. I pointed to the chair and said, "Have a seat. Wanda told me you thought it was important to talk to me." "Well, it may not be important to you, but it is to me." "You want to explain?" "The last time we met, you told me that I knew what I had and that every man who sees me wants me." "I remember." "Well, I tried quite a few of those men before I married Tom, and they all turned out to be assholes. I thought I had found a winner in Tom, but he cheated on me before our second wedding anniversary. I don't know why I put up with it for so long, but eventually I got sick of it and decided to divorce him. That's when you showed up. You made your point, and I thought, great, another asshole to add to my long list of assholes. But then, you got me thinking. You caught me. I was ready to give you what you wanted, but suddenly you didn't want to take it. Said it wouldn't be right. I was shocked. There wasn't a man among my acquaintances who would walk out on me under those circumstances, and you did. A man with principles. Something I didn't even know existed. I remember you saying that if I were yours, you would chain me to the bed so that I could never escape. I remember all that. Did you mean it? Of course I am. Well, I'm not quite ready to be chained to a bed, but I think I'd like to get to know a man like that a little better. Since you're single and I'm no longer married, I'm here to see if there's any interest on your part in letting us get to know each other a little better. This woman looked so damn gorgeous that as I sat there listening to her, I had one hell of a stiff reaction, and by the time she got to the words, "Is there interest on your part?" I was ready to make it on my desk, but of course I didn't. I did, however, say, "I'd really like to get to know you better. Since you've taken the bull by the horns, so to speak, by coming here, I assume you already have a first step in mind?" As a matter of fact, I do. The company I work for is having a banquet tomorrow night, and I need an escort. That's tomorrow. What are you doing tonight? I don't have plans. How about dinner, drinks, and conversation? I'd love to. What time? I looked at my watch and said, I should be finishing up by now. How about now? That's fine with me. We can take my car and come back afterward for yours. That won't be necessary. I drove here in an Uber. We got to talking on the way to the restaurant, and I learned that, although she has a car, she rarely drives it. Parking sucks in the area around my work, and the bus stop is right down the street from my house, and yes, the bus stop is right next to work, so I mostly use the bus. Getting to your place today was spontaneous, so I called an Uber. Over dinner and drinks, I learned that she is an only child, a graduate of Metro State College, with a degree in business management. I reminded her that she had told me she didn't have a day of college, and told her I was shocked, just shocked, to find out she had lied to me. She laughed and said I would get over it. She had been married twice, Tom was her second, but had no children. Maybe someday, but right now, they would be too inconvenient in my life. Since the next day was a work day for both of us, I brought her home by 8, and she kissed me on the cheek. Nothing close to what she gave me the last time we were together, but hopefully it was a sign of better times ahead. The banquet turned out to be a farewell party for a guy who was retiring and a promotion party for his replacement. I knew of her company and was familiar with several people who worked there. About an hour after we arrived, one of them caught me in the men's room. "You old dog! How did you manage to hook up with the Ice Queen?" The Ice Queen? That's what everyone here, at least the men, call Angelina. Every guy in this place has been sniffing her out since she came to work. She's been avoiding them all. I can tell you we know each other. She needed an escort for this party, and she asked me. I had nothing better to do, so I said yes. He looked at me for a long moment, then said, "Yeah, right." When I got back to where we were sitting, I told her I found out about her nickname. She didn't understand what I was talking about, so I told her what Fred had told me. No surprise there. Almost all of them were married, which put them on my long list of assholes. After dinner, there were a few speeches, and everyone started to disperse. People headed into the hall where there was a live band and a dance floor. I assumed Angelina would want to sit with her co-workers, but she led me to a table in the corner. Before I could ask, she said, "I want you to be with just me. If we sit with a bunch of co-workers, I'll be asked to dance all the time, and I have no intention of dancing with anyone but you. Sitting here, we tell everyone we want privacy, which, for the most part, we did. But there's always an asshole, right? 10 minutes after we sat down, some guy came over to the table and, ignoring me, said, "Come on, baby, let's dance." Before Angel could say a word, I replied, "Sorry, But my date promised all her dancing to me. He looked at me and said, "I wasn't talking to you." I stood up and said, "You have two choices, asshole. You can walk away unharmed, or you can be carried out of here on a stretcher by EMTs. The choice is yours, and you have 5 seconds to make it, or I'll make it for you, and my choice means flashing lights and ambulances for you." He threw me a dirty look and then turned and walked away. I looked at Angel and asked, "Do you want to dance?" She said yes. When we got out on the parquet, she put her arm around me and asked, "Would you really kick his ass?" Damn right I would. My hero. Protecting me from scumbags. I didn't do it for you, although I would have fought to protect you. Then why'd you get in his face? He disrespected me and I won't stand for it. He disrespected you? How? He ignored me and followed you. If he had come up and asked me if I minded him asking you to dance, then everything would have been fine. What would you have said if he had asked you? I'd say I wouldn't mind, but that's up to you. Well, just so you know, I'd say no. He's a jerk and thinks he's God's gift to women. He's been stalking me since I came to work. He just doesn't take no for an answer and keeps coming back. We danced and talked and she moved closer to me. "Do you have any idea what you're doing to me?" I whispered in her ear. "Of course I do. Everyone here will see this, and everyone will know I've been kidnapped, and all the wolves will leave me alone from now on." No, they won't. The male of the species emerges from his mother's factory, programmed to seek out the opposite sex, and some females are more attractive than others. You are, fortunately or unfortunately, one of those more attractive ones. Married and with 5 kids, men will still hit on you. You're good for a girl's ego. I may have to keep you with me. As if I could be that lucky, I thought to myself. We stayed on the dance floor for the next 2 numbers, and then the band took a break. When we got back to our table, there was a very pretty blonde girl sitting there. "What are you doing here, Amy?" "I saw your date put Ray on the run, and I wondered if I could talk you into letting his umbrella of protection cover me." Angel introduced us, then asked, "How about it, Paul? Only from Ray, or from all the men who will ask you to dance?" "I doubt anyone but Ray will ask me." I raised an eyebrow at that, but no explanation followed. We talked for a while, and then the band came back, and Angel asked me to ask Amy out on the parquet to dance, so I asked Amy if she wanted to dance, and she agreed. Curiosity got the best of her, and as we waltzed, I asked, "You're one hell of an attractive lady, so why are you hesitant for someone to ask you to dance?" "I am a problem employee at the company. I've gone to HR several times because of unwanted male attention. Now, men stay away from me." "So why do you come here?" "I like to have a drink or two with the girls I work with, but they've all left and gone home." I still had an almost full glass in front of me, so I decided to stay and finish it. Ray saw me sitting alone and headed in my direction, so I got up and walked over to your table, thinking he would stay away from you. "I'm sure you can handle Ray." "Yeah, but that would cause a scene. And I didn't want that. And by the way, thanks for the compliment." The music stopped and we went back to the table and my next surprise of the evening. Ray was sitting in my chair talking to Angel. No matter what he said, she shook her head negatively. Amy probably didn't want to make a scene, but it didn't bother me, and I'd already made it clear to the asshole that I didn't want him bothering my date. When I got to the table, I grabbed the back of the chair, toppling him backwards and knocking him to the floor. Before he could recover from his surprise, I put my foot on his neck, crushing him with my 93 pounds. He tried to push me away, but the way he was laying down gave him no footing. I looked down at him and said, "I told you that my companion is mine for this evening, and suggested that you leave before I hurt you. When I lift my foot and you stand up, you had best run to the door and leave the place. Any other action on your part will result in you being taken away in an ambulance." I lifted my foot and stepped back to see what he would do. He got up and ran, really ran to the door. Angel was smiling at me, and Amy was looking at me with a stunned expression on her face. I pushed Amy's chair back, And after she sat down, I picked up my chair from the floor and sat down at the table. Before I could sit down, the waitress appeared with the drinks. Placing them on the table, she said, "It's on the house. The manager thanks you for getting rid of the trash." "Can I count on this kind of excitement every time we go somewhere?" Angel asked. "God, I hope not. I prefer my evenings to be more relaxed." The three of us talked, drank, and danced until the band announced the end of the evening. During my last dance with Amy, she slipped a piece of paper into my jacket pocket and said, "If things don't work out with Angelina, call me." When I was driving Angel home, she asked me what Amy had put in my pocket, and I told her. What an idiot! And that's after I was so nice to her. "Relax. She told me to call her if things didn't work out with you and me, so the question is whether anything will happen between us." "I sure as hell hope so. That's the reason I asked you to take me to Andy's promotion party." "So what's the next step?" "If I wasn't afraid of making the wrong impression, I'd invite you over when you brought me home and we'd make love. But I guess we'd have to meet a few times and work at it. I felt an instant attraction to you the first time we met, and you won't give me the wrong impression if you really want to invite me to your place. In fact, the way I see it, the sooner we find out if we're compatible, the better." She gave me a long look and said, "Okay, honey, you're in." Deerfield had to be an idiot to run from Angel. If I had my socks on when we got into bed, she probably would have ripped them off me. We did everything in a row. We made love. Afterwards, she snuggled up to me, and we fell asleep. In the morning, she made us breakfast, and I sat at the kitchen table drinking coffee and watching her. She looked at me and asked, "Do you think you can sustain a steady diet from what happened last night?" No question about it. No question. "I don't have any plans for the rest of the weekend." "What a coincidence! Me neither." "Do you think we can think of something to do?" I wouldn't be surprised. We found something to do for the rest of the weekend, and on Monday, I barely had the energy to drag myself to work. That weekend set the course of action for the next 6 months. We were constantly together and spent almost every night of the week together, either in her bed or mine. It couldn't last, and I knew it. I drove as long as I could, but I knew that sooner or later the train would derail. The train wreck happened at the end of our 6th month together. It was a Friday night, and we were wrapping up a night of drinking and dancing, with a raucous night on my bed. We were resting up to continue, and she uttered 9 words that made the train derail. "Are you ever going to put a ring on my finger?" But my one-word answer may have been the cause of the derailment. "No." "Will you tell me why?" "Because I don't trust women of this species." I proceeded to explain to her why. She listened and was silent for about 15 seconds before she said, "That's it? A bunch of teenagers from your past going to control your life?" "It's more than that, Angelina. Do you remember the first time we met?" "Of course I do, but what does that have to do with it? I thought we had something good." "Actually, we did have something good, but my past and what caused us to meet in the first place makes me say no." "I don't understand what our first meeting has to do with anything." "You were married to Tom, but you had no problem making love to another man behind his back to get what you wanted. Can I trust that you would never do that to me if you wanted it really badly? I don't know, and I don't want to risk finding out." She got up, got dressed, and left without another word. Was I sorry to see her go? Of course you were. Like I said, we had something great, but that didn't make my reasoning any less valid. Given the way Angel left, I saw no point in trying to call her. For the next 6 weeks, I used the services of the 2 escort girls again, and then I got an unexpected call. "Good morning, it's Paul." "I'm disappointed in you. I asked you to call if things didn't work out between you and Angelina." "Amy, why didn't you call?" "Honestly, I wasn't in the mood to talk to another woman at the time." "Are you ready?" I was ready, and I said so. How about dinner tonight and we can talk about it? She gave me her address, and I said I'd pick her up at 6. We walked into Red Lobster, and hadn't you guessed it? The first person I saw was Angelina sitting at a table with 2 other girls. She saw us, and there was an expression on her face that I couldn't read. Amy and I were shown to a booth, and we placed our order. Half an hour later, I needed to use the restroom, and when I came out, I saw Angel waiting for me. It didn't take you long to get over me, did it? Who says I forgot you? Why didn't you call me if that's what you think? For what purpose? The way you left told me everything I wanted to know. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date to get back to. When I drove Amy home, she kissed me on the cheek and asked, "Can we do this again?" I really hope so. How about this Friday? I get off at 5. Would 6 be okay with you? That's fine. She kissed me on the cheek again, and I went home. When I got home from work the next day and started making dinner, the phone rang and it was Amy. I'm calling to cancel our date on Friday. Angelina came up to me at work today and said she wasn't happy to see me messing around with her man. Her man? That's what she said. Messing around with her man. I thought it was over between you two. I thought it was, too. I hadn't seen you in over a month. I was looking forward to Friday, but after talking to Angelina, I have to cancel. I need this job, and given my already won reputation as a troublemaker, I can't afford any more hostility. I understand. Thanks for calling. By the time I hung up, I was already trying to make sense of what was going on. She'd left me without a word, and then never called me once. But I was her man? I couldn't figure it out, so I stopped trying and finished cooking dinner. After eating, I tried to watch TV, but my thoughts kept coming back to Amy's phone call and what she said to me. If I was Angel's man, why didn't she call me? She had a key to my house, so why didn't she use it? I finally decided that she thought she had me in her grasp, that I would call and beg her to come back, and she was waiting for a call that never came. Did I want her to come back? Yes, I did, but I meant what I said when I refused the call. It was probably stupid of me, but that's the way I was. My attitude will never change. Angel will probably never cheat on me, but probably not is not the same as never. When you say maybe not, the implication is that maybe is also present, like maybe, maybe not. No. As much as I wanted Angel, I knew I could never trust her, so there was no point in calling her. 3 more days passed, and one day when I got home from work, I found the dress on the floor when I walked through the apartment door. On the path leading from the dress to the bedroom door were a pair of high-heeled shoes, a bra, and a pair of pantyhose. I opened the bedroom door and found Angel on my bed. You've come at a hell of a time. Take that stupid expression off your face, get undressed, and get your ass over here. I undressed, and as I approached the bed, she said, "No need to waste time, just lie down and let's do this." I smiled and said, "Yes, dear," and then did what she wanted. No words were spoken after my "yes, darling," so I kept my mouth closed and watched her work on bringing me back to life. Realizing I was acting like a wise ass, I said again, "Yes, dear," and again did what the lady wanted. When we were done making love, both of us staring at the ceiling trying to catch our breath, she said, "You know you're an asshole, right?" "Why do I have to be an asshole?" "Because you didn't do what you were supposed to do." "And what was that?" "You should have come after me and begged me to come back. You should have taken the ring out of your pocket and said something like, 'Put this on and promise never to leave me again.'" "But did you?" "Ha! Didn't even call. My problem was that I was so damn miserable without you. I finally admitted that I needed to be with you whether you called or not. It was a year of living together before she could put a ring on her finger. She refused at first, and it took me several months to get her to finally accept it. Why such a turnaround on my part? Ralph and Richard. Who are Ralph and Richard? The twins Angel and I managed to make. She told me she wasn't taking birth control to conceive with me, and then when I finally got tired of her and kicked her out, she'd have something from me. When I told her we needed to get married to make the baby legal, we didn't know it was twins at the time, she said, "No, our deal was no ring and we would live together as friends with benefits." I continued to pursue her and she replied, "No, I'm not going to let you think for the rest of your life that I got pregnant on purpose to get you to marry me." I never stopped asking, and one day, she handed me a piece of paper and told me to read it. It was a prenuptial agreement that stated that if we ever divorced, for whatever reason, she would come out of the marriage with only what she brought to it, which was her maiden name. It gave me sole custody of the children, and at the bottom was her notarized signature. The next day, we went ring shopping and were married in a civil ceremony 2 weeks later. 14 years and 5 children later, we still continue to live together. The end.